Ladies and gentlemen, Melina, Melina, Melina. All right, guys, you watch things in Hollywood, right? You see things in Hollywood. You see these people that are doing so well. You see these people that are making enormous amounts of money. You see their lavish lifestyle. You see the people they date. You see what they surround themselves with, all these diamonds and fancy cars and beautiful homes and all this like beach property, all this, right? And sometimes we forget that sometimes they're not happy or they're not, and some of these people have like lots of lovers, you know, but sometimes you forget that these people might not be happy. Some of them might not be happy, and some of them get abused. You know, Lady Gaga had been raped. You know, you just think to yourself like, wait a minute, Lady Gaga, like she has like a huge powerhouse. She has complete control over her life. She can do whatever she wants, and yet she's experienced that. You know, so you think to yourself, my goodness, you know, other people must have experienced that kind of thing too. Like it's just so sad, right? Like I actually had an experience one time where I had worked at a job, and it was an old job from before, and the person was a guy, and I said, oh, call me anytime, you know, and I wasn't interested in the person at all. I'm not going to say who it is, but I wasn't interested in the person at all. I didn't want to go out with them, but I just gave them my number and said, call me anytime, just to be like, you know, I'm a nice person, so I'm going to say that, right? I'm not going, and I really didn't think they would call. I thought, oh, they're just gonna go about their way, do whatever. They're not gonna call. Like they're probably not even interested in guys, you know. I just thought I'll give them my number, say call me anytime, which is fine. I'm not really opposed to that, but I was just like, I don't think he's gonna call, and I don't like him at all to date. He's not my type at all. So I thought, okay. And then he ended up calling me, which I was very shocked. I'm like, my goodness. And then said who he was, and I was like, oh, okay, so you were at my old work. And then he said that he would erase my channel if I didn't go out with him. And I, you know, like Lady Gaga, the same thing happened to her, right? They said that they were going to burn her music if she didn't have X with her, right? They didn't get to have an X with her, right? And this person did the same thing. The only thing was, for me, and I mean, for me, I'm like a strong guy. I'm built strong. I'm a body as a guy, Marco. I'm a bodybuilder, etc. But you know, people might threaten me with something like that, right? But I'm like, well, you don't have my password. You're not. When my computer's in storage, you can't go into my storage because it's locked with security, and all this. So I'm like, there's no way you're gonna get to it. So I just turned him down and left it at that. And then my channel was safe because he didn't have my password, right? So I mean, believe it or not, even guys go through these things. Obviously, it makes sense. And like, what if I believed him? What if I thought, oh, he has my channel? What if he deletes all my videos? What if he this? What if he that? You know, but he didn't have any access to it. And I'm smart. I didn't believe him because I'm like, how is he going to have access to it? There's no way. So I believed myself and took my word for it. And so that was really good, right? But Lady Gaga had the same experience. And this guy was not my type at all. Like, I would have been like very upset if I had done anything with him, and I was like, and the fact that he even said that, I was like, really? No way. Like, why would you even say that? So I was like, oh, good. I'm glad that I didn't get anywhere near him to date or anything, or to sleep with, because, or, you know, I can't say too much on YouTube, but to have sex with. So I was like, oh my God, like that could have been a really big disaster. And of course, Lady Gaga had experienced exactly that. And it's like, and I mean, the thing is, you know, Lady Gaga, it's harder because you're in Hollywood. What are you going to do? You can't just not leave your music there. I mean, I think a lot of people in Hollywood, like a lot of girls, are very protective of themselves. They bring a guy with them that they know. They might have their music and just say, listen to it while I'm here, you know, and that kind of thing. You have to, almost, in a sense. But it's like, he had all of her music and he could have just burned it, right? So I mean, you know, it's like really, like, that's so mean, right? And the same thing with the guy that I talked to, right? So, you know, I've never been in a bad situation where I've had that kind of thing to deal with. I mean, I didn't believe him, so I knew it wasn't true, and so I was fine. But what if I did believe him, you know? It's just terrible, right? And I mean, you think to yourself, oh, it happens just in Hollywood, or even if I go to Hollywood, it won't happen to me. But these things happen to people, right? Anyway, I'm glad to have shed some light up to you guys. So if anybody tells you, you know, that you are on your channel and they're gonna erase your channel or whatever, if you don't have X with them, then you basically know that you have the passwords, you have all that. They can't do that, right? So that's something that you can know there. And if you are in a position where you have your music and you have all of it there and you want to show them, just show them while you're in the studio and don't let them take it, right? But this guy might have just stolen it from Lady Gaga. She's small, she's 5'2", and a woman that's very thin, right? But I mean, you know, it's very, very sad, right? I mean, Lady Gaga was thrown in a trash can. I mean, you just think to yourself, like, my goodness, and that's never happened to me, obviously, I'm a strong guy. So that never happened to me, but I'm just like, you know, sometimes you just think to yourself, like for me, a lot of stars have experienced things that I don't even like, or that have been really traumatic. My life has been very good. I've had a very good childhood. I've had a lot of fun. I wasn't a star in my childhood, so I didn't have to worry about fame. I had been very much kind of like happy-go-lucky, casual, you know, very, very kind of like, you know, easygoing kind of thing. So for me, life has been pretty good, and I've dated a lot, you know. Like there was like Michael Jackson, right, which we all know how tragic his life was. But he's had bad nose surgeries, and he was claimed to be a pedophile. And one video with Oprah, she asked him if he was a virgin, you know, and it's like, he seemed, based on his answer, it seemed like he was, right? So you just think to yourself, like, my goodness, you know, like, I've dated lots, I've had lots of experiences, people have treated me so well, people have given me so many things, people have supported me so many times in my life, I've learned a lot by just experiencing things, people were always there for me, you know, it's a different life, and I wouldn't trade my life for Michael Jackson's, even though he was rich and famous. I'm going to be rich and famous too, very famous, but you know what I mean, right? Like sometimes you just think to yourself, these stars have it all, but not all of them do, right? Anyway, totally joke, I know.